Seller's agents, a how-to, guys. Everything from start to finish on how to represent a seller. Guys, first things first, and I said this last time when we were talking about representing a buyer, you've got to meet them. You have to get in front of them. I told a very long-winded story last week about how effective I am when I sit down in front of somebody. Guys, you need to sit down in front of somebody. You need to talk to them about what we're doing and what they want to do, what their dreams, what they want, all that kind of stuff. Get in front of them. Don't try and nowadays, yeah, you can probably Zoom it or whatever, all this COVID stuff, but do your best to try and get in front of them. Obviously be sensitive to their needs, desires, concerns. So wear a mask, whatever, during all this stuff, but get in front of them. That's a big thing. Again, once you're in front of them, this is a huge time to get paperwork out of the way. I cannot stress this enough. It came up again this week. You need to get an IABS immediately. At the first substantive conversation with a real estate anything, get an IABS. What does substantive mean? In my opinion, it's the minute you say a number. If you say a number, $128,000, or you know what I mean? Or if they're like, I'm really looking for a house, blah, blah, blah. If you say I'm licensed, I'm a realtor, or if you say a number, I consider that substantive. Just to be safe, I'm serious. I've got probably 40 of these printed out in my truck at all times, just because if I run into somebody, hey, can you sign this for me real quick? You know what I mean? And the reason why I have so many is I usually give them a copy and then I keep a copy. Actually, I think I'm going to try and see if I can get us some carbon ones so we can just tear it and not have to worry about that all the time. But I can't tell you, it came up again this week. Somebody didn't have an IABS, and it's a silly thing to skip. Plus, take a representation agreement with you when you're done with them. You want to be able to sign up to represent them. Guys, on the selling side, this seller's representation agreement is way more important than on the buyer's side. And I'm actually going to tell y'all a story about how I'm kind of failing as a seller's representation right now, like today. And it's going to be really an interesting case study that we'll do at the very end, and I'll explain why that seller's representation agreement. And a quick hint is in there, you have a contingency period beyond your seller's agreement. So when it expires, you say, if anything happens 30 days after that I procured or brought to you, that is still my sell. And that's what looks like it's about to happen. And because I have that representation agreement, it's going to help me tremendously and make sure that I get paid. And I'll talk about that later. So the next thing you're going to want to do is when you're sitting down with these guys is talk to them about their house. Most people that are selling their house are trying to sell their house to get a nicer house. And they've usually spent a lot of time, effort, energy in their house. So talk to them about it. Let them sell you on the house. This is fun. They're going to tell you about the time their kid fell down over here and how the time that they built this or whatever it is. Any updates, hidden goodies, take copious notes, guys. Write everything down because you will forget by the time you leave. So any updates they've done. Hey, we updated the kitchen. We updated the bathroom. That's big, okay? Hidden goodies. I put that in here because there's a lot of things that aren't seen. We had the entire electrical replaced 2 years ago. That's huge. We had the air conditioner replaced last summer. Again, huge advantage when it comes to selling your house that you never see. You just don't see that. Other hidden goodies, I've had houses that have the solar shield stuff in the attic. You're not going to crawl in the attic. You know what I mean? Ask them about all these kind of things because those are good selling points that you need to be aware of. And you won't know this unless you ask those questions. So take notes, find out what makes their home special. When you are done, once you get the listing, I always hand over the seller's disclosures. I want to make a very, very important point about seller's disclosures, guys. This is not for you to fill out, okay? I don't read it to them and fill it out for them. My hand never makes a mark on that page, ever. My hand never makes a mark on that page. Okay. What I do is I give it to them and I say, I need you to fill this out. Take your time, email it to me later. That little piece of paper, I've never been a part of it, thank God, but I've heard horror stories about how that document right there can make or break lawsuits should things come up. You never told me that the septic system was bad. That's not for us to tell. We don't live in that house. We don't know. That seller disclosure is huge. By the way, I think there's like 2 or 3 different seller's disclosures. I believe, oh God, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll look it up for y'all. But I think it's the Sabor one. in San Antonio is the most comprehensive. The bigger the document on this, the better, okay? Do not let them take this little thing for granted. Let's say it's an investor that just wants to sell a house. It's a crap house. They've never lived there. They just can't write not applicable across the whole thing, or I don't know. They can't do that. They have to check every single box. Guys, this is to protect you. If anything ever comes up with it, you can say, I didn't know that, but they knew that, and they signed this paper, and I did not fill this out for them. So I hate to really beat a dead horse. Give them that. Let them have the time to fill it out and get it back from you. Other things that you're going to want to ask about while you're there, because it'll make your listing life easier, is any documentation that comes with the house. Do they currently have a survey on this house? 99 times out of 100, yes, they do, because they had to get a survey to get a loan to buy the house, okay? If they have a survey, get it from them. Hey, can I get a copy of this? I'll get it back to you, okay? You need that. You're also going to need something called the T47. All you got to do is Google T47. That's an affidavit saying they've changed nothing on the survey. That's a little bit of a disclaimer, guys. I will talk about this just real quick. What that means when they've changed nothing on the survey is they've not changed the footprint of that house. A survey is designed to show where their lines end and where the house is. If they built a garage on, that survey is no longer applicable. If they poured a sidewalk, no longer applicable. Anything that changes the footprint, you cannot use a T47. So to save them money, they'll use their old survey and say, hey, I've never changed the footprint. That's the T47. That document, the T47, does need to be notarized. So I leave that with them as well and say, hey, I'm going to need you to sign this, but you need to go to a notary. Once you've done that, email it to me. How do I find a notary? Guys, go to any title company. Whatever title company you work with, just tell them, hey, so-and-so is going to come by. They'll stamp it, notarize it, and get it over to you, okay? And a lot of times I tell my sellers, leave it with the title company. Please leave it with them. They'll get it to me, and that they're usually fine with that. So I want to get as much documentation. HOA. Are you in an HOA? I need all of your HOA documents. Guys, and they're going to, everybody's going, well, what if they don't have it? They have it. Whenever you buy a house, guys, excuse me, they give you this gigantic envelope with 7,000 pieces of paper in it. Ask them for it. That's exactly how I describe it. You remember that really big envelope they gave you with all the documents? They go, yeah, can I see that? And they'll bring it to you. Dig through it, pull out what you need. I need the HOA covenants and restrictions. I need to have the survey. Here's a T47. I need to sign. I pull all that stuff out. And then again, guys, ask about hidden things that you may not know. Is there a septic tank out here? Is there a buried gas tank out here? Which sounds weird, but some places, the house I have right now has a buried propane tank that they use for fireplaces and to have gas cooking. Anything like that. If they're down at the coast, do you have your wind certification? Do you have all of these different documents? Again, guys, you just got to talk to them to find out. You want to gather all of these documents ahead of time. I know this sounds like a very long meeting, and I know I even feel like I'm rambling talking about all these. But the reason why I do it is I don't want to do it twice. I definitely don't want to do it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And I'll explain why in just a minute, guys. Okay, now we have to get so we've got our agreement signed. We're ready to go. You've got all your docs. Now we have to get the home ready for listing. I'm going to go put it in the MLS. No, you're not. You got some things to do, okay? Basically, you want to make sure that house is perfect before you order photos. What does that mean? This is really a case by case. This is where you get to be a little bit more of an artist. You want to make sure that house is decluttered as humanly possible. If they have dogs or kids and it needs a quick coat of paint, I'd recommend that. You want to try and make this house as pretty as possible. A lot of times when I meet with people, they'll tell me, I know there's things wrong with this house. Okay, what's wrong with it, right? I need you to fill out the seller's disclosure, but tell me what you think is wrong. And when you walk around the house, you'll see it too. It needs paint. This door jamb is rotted, whatever. My next question to them is, how much money do you want to put towards fixing these things? Because if they fix them sooner than later, it's going to help you out. It's going to help the listing out. It's going to show better. If you've got some kid that drew all over the walls in their playroom, that's not going to make for a good photo. And you don't want to put bad photos in the MLS because people live off of Realtor.com and Zillow and all that stuff. They're going to go in there and say, oh my God, they got kids that tore this room to crap. I don't want to buy that house. And they're going to make a snap judgment. So you want to make sure the house is as perfect as you can possibly get it, and then get photos. You need to get professional photos. You've been through the MLS, I'm sure. You've been through Realtor.com. You've seen photos that realtors took with their iPhone. Okay? They never look good. It just doesn't. I don't care who you are. You're going to want professional photos. You can get professional photos. I paid as little as like $150, and I've paid upward to $500 or $600 for professional photos. You need to get professional photos, guys. How do you get them? I find them all over the place. You can download an app called Thumbtack, ask for professional photos. You can go to, you can just find them, guys. Google it, house photographers, real estate photographers. You can find them if you want them from me. I can give you some recommendations as well. I actually just got a good recommendation from Cameron Whitehead. He sent me a guy and he did a great job. You can also take fancy photos. There's a product called a Matterport, which will take 3-dimensional photos, which is really good for virtual staging. That's expensive though, guys. The bigger the house, the more it's going to cost. And you have to kind of think through your budget as well. If you're selling a $100,000 house, you have to realize you're going to make $3,000. You're not going to want to spend $1,500 of that on photos. It's probably not really going to help. If you're selling a $750,000 house like I am, you better spend some money on them photos. You want that thing to show well. Also remember, guys, videos rule the internet right now. Photos are important, yes, for sure, but you're gonna need a video. And I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later. The big deal used to be was virtual tours. And y'all have all seen a virtual tour before. It's where it just kind of slowly rolls from one photo to the next. And it usually has some very soft piano music. And it'll like zoom in and zoom out. And that's called a virtual tour. You can do all kinds of different virtual tours, and I'll walk you through those here in just a little bit. But if you have it in your budget to make a video, do it. That is huge. And I'll show you some examples. You're definitely going to want a virtual tour because that does come up in your MLS listing. It says, do you have a virtual tour? Put it in there. Next thing, put it in the MLS. Guys, there's previous videos I've done putting it in the MLS. That's huge. Make sure you fill it out as completely as you possibly can. And when you put it in the MLS, this is when you want to put all those documents that pertain to the house in the MLS. You're going to want to put a copy of the survey in there. You're going to want to put a copy of the T47 in there. You're going to want to put your HOA docs in there. There's a HOA forms you got to fill out. And I talk about that in the listing part, or how they upload stuff. You want to put all of that in the additional docs, because if not, when you get a contract on that house, they're going to say, where's the survey? Where's this? Where's that? If that contract falls through and you get another contract, you're going to have to provide all this stuff again. It's a pain to gather all of that and email it to somebody all the time. If you put it in the listing, one and done. Get it out ahead of time. Be smart. And plus, it makes you look a little bit more professional to other realtors. And they're probably not going to try and take advantage of you because you smell new if none of those docs are uploaded. You just smell new. It's like, hey, look, I'm going to beat this realtor up. If you have all of that stuff already in there, they're going to be like, okay, all right, they know what's going on, right? Don't forget, guys, to put it in showing time as well, okay? Showing time, it used to be CSS, and then there was showing time, but I think showing time bought out CSS. That is a showing service. They keep track of who wants to look at the house, when they want to look at the house, the lockbox codes, all of that jazz. You need to put it in showing time. It's a great way to track who's been in and out of that house. Remember, you're selling somebody's property. I don't know about you, but I don't really like strangers coming in my house. They need to have a realtor to use showing time. If they have a realtor, they have a background check, they have a broker, they have insurance, they have all that stuff they need. So if they do steal the Mona Lisa out of my house or whatever, we can track these people down. If they break something, we can track them down. That's why showing time is important. When you're in showing time, guys, be very careful what you pick. There's an option called Go and Show. Personally, I like that one, but it's only really applicable if it is a vacant house. Don't click Go and Show if they've got 5 kids and a dog, because somebody's just going to click a button 5 minutes and they're going to show up. There's appointment requested, appointment required, all of that good stuff. You can set up in showing time, do not request a showing in less than 2 hours notice or whatever it is, to give them time. Also, if you are a little bit lazy like myself, You can put in there where it notifies you if they're requesting an appointment, or you can put in there to notify the seller. And it will email them directly saying, so-and-so realtor wants to show your house tomorrow at 3. I like doing that because then I tell them, hey, look, do not lose any of these listings because you're not ready to do it. They'll be aware. And then give them some simple staging tips. If they have pets, get the pets out of the house. But I only have a cat and she's really shy. Get the cat out of the house and vacuum. Some people are allergic to cats. They walk in sneezing, they're not gonna like the house, right? If they have a dog, but he's friendly, don't care, put him at the neighbor's house, right? Make sure everything's cleaned up. Get rid of the clutter. Close the toilets. If you know what I mean? Like close the lid of the toilet. They're not gonna open it, but just close it, right? Take out the garbage. Make sure the house doesn't stink. Get some the little foo-foo things, the plug-in foo-foos or the ones from the dollar store that the little cones. Make sure the house smells good, looks good. Set the air conditioner, guys. It's 110 degrees today. Set the AC at like 70. You know, I don't like doing that. Doesn't matter. I want them to walk in, the house smells good, looks clean, toilets are closed, kids are gone, pets are gone. Make sure this house looks great for showings. That's just important things, simple things when it comes to putting it in showing time and getting ready for showings. And now the hard part is marketing. Market. How do we make our house known? I do a lot of marketing for my houses, a lot. I want everybody to see them. How do you market? Guys, it depends on your budget. It really depends on your budget. If you have a $1 million house that you're gonna make $30,000 on, you better market the snot out of that thing. It's hard sometimes because you have to spend money before you make it. But simple ideas, guys, put a sign in the yard. People drive around. All of my signs have text code information, stuff like that, where they can get it. Get your flyer boxes. You can have flyers made. I love going to Fiverr.com, and they'll say, send me the pictures, and they'll make you a flyer for $6 or something cheap, and it looks really good. Things like Listing Booster and other ones will produce flyers for you. Go print them out, print them in color, and make sure that they look good and put them in the flyer box, right? The internet, you guys, MLS is the initial one. And when you're uploading stuff, it will ask you, is it okay if we put this on Realtor and Zillow and all that stuff? Click yes, because that's where everybody starts looking. You can also market more ways through the internet. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Specialty events, open houses, guys, that's marketing. Okay, it's a great way to get buyers that are looking for houses. It's a great way to sell your house. A lot, you'll know the routine on that. I'm sure you've been to an open house before. Get some sandwiches and bottled water and balloons and all that stuff. Make sure the house looks good and go. Emails. You can email people about this. You can email you. We can do something called reverse prospecting, which I'll talk about that in just a minute. Where you can send emails to the realtors that are looking for houses similar to yours. You can send an email to every single realtor. You got to do everything in your power to get this house in front of somebody that might buy it. Everybody thinks that you just throw the house in the MLS and you're done. It's kind of true, depending on your house. Pretty much in the San Antonio area, anything under $200,000 is going to sell very quick at this moment with today's market conditions. You won't have to do much other than put a sign in the yard and put it in the MLS. When you get more expensive houses, they're a little bit harder. If you have houses that are way out in the country, again, it's a little bit harder. You want to be able to make sure that people that might be looking for it find you. Don't be lazy on the marketing because it's going to get you in trouble. Now for the contract. So the cool thing about being a seller's agent is you get to it's a little bit more low key. You're not driving around all day. You're not looking at 600 houses. You're looking at one house, and it's your house that you have to sell. You can do most of the marketing from your couch, which is great. Not all of it, but most of it. And so people try to do this. The downside about being a seller's agent is you kind of lose a lot of negotiating power once you sign a contract. The buyer pretty much has all the cards on their side of the table at that time. So you need to make sure that you look at the contract the first time very, very carefully. You're going to get a 1-to-4. That's what we're talking about here. You might have to negotiate it. Remember, if somebody submits an offer to you, you have 3 options. You can accept the offer as is. You can counter negotiate, or you can just reject it flat out. However you want to go about doing it, guys. But you need to present these offers to your seller, seller. Unless the seller gives you written instructions. I am not taking less than this. They need to write that down, email it to you, and then you can just tell people, no, I'm not doing that. But other than that, anything in writing, you do need to present to them. How do you present an offer to them? Well, you take the pertinent information, you make sure it's easy to understand. So most of the time, they want to know, how much money do I walk away with? Guys, that's called a net sheet. So you take the sale price of the home, you subtract out what they owe, you subtract out any seller's concessions that they're making, if they're paying for the survey, you know, all those little ticky-tacky things throughout the contract. You're going to want to put all of that in there and then tell them you're walking away with X amount of money. That's what most people want to know. How much money am I making? I've seen offers, guys, where it's, you know, I'm going to offer you $200,000, but I need $10,000 in seller concession. That's a sneaky way to offer $190,000. That's why you need to do a net sheet. You need to go take the time, especially if you're new, and really work through a net sheet. Colin, do you have a net sheet? I do. I used a lot of just kind of my experience on it, but Ryan told me the other day, and he was right. Independence Title, which is a large title insurance company, has an app, and in that app they have a net sheet. That's fantastic because most of the time your seller is paying the title policy. It calculates the title policy for you, which is nice, instead of just guessing. So try not to guess, guys. Use your tools to get a very accurate net sheet. Also, on top of that, make sure they understand the other things involved. How much earnest money are they putting down? That's not really going to go into your net sheet, but if somebody puts down $50 in earnest money, I'm not taking them serious, okay? The next thing, find out the closing date. I'd like to close on this house in 6 months. What? No, like my guys have got to move now, right? That's a very important factor. Is there a contingency? I would like to buy your house, but I need to sell mine first. That's a big deal, guys. I'm going to want to, like me personally, if somebody brings a contingent offer, I want to see their house. I want to see the MLS listing. I want to see how I'm going to run a CMA to see if it's priced properly. I'm going to check the days on market. I'm going to let my seller know, hey, look, they have a contingency. Houses in that area tend to sell in about 15 to 20 days, and they put it up 3 days ago. We're probably good. Or, you know, that's way overpriced and houses sit on the market for 3 years out there. It depends, and you need to make those recommendations to your seller. So pay attention to all those little details. Prepare them for the inspection, okay? Inspections are a funny game. Inspectors are scared of getting sued. When they turn in an inspection report, I say this all the time, guys, they're going to tell you every single solitary thing is wrong with this house. That's their job, okay? They don't want to get sued because they didn't tell you that the plug over in the bedroom didn't work. They're going to tell you everything. You need to prepare your sellers for that. Hey, look, they're going to order an inspection. They're going to tell you everything's wrong with the house, okay? Then they're going to send an amendment saying, we want you to fix everything or we want you to fix nothing. Just make sure you explain the process to them so they're not taken aback. Because usually there's a 10-day option. Somewhere in that 10 days, you're going to end up renegotiating the house, okay? So just because you gave them a net sheet does not mean we're out of the woods yet. Tell them, hey, look, they're going to send an inspector. You need to make sure you get everything out of the way so he can inspect, and then we're going to have to renegotiate. Because if you don't, they're going to get blindsided, and they're going to be mad at you for not telling them. And then negotiating, you just got to talk to them. Like, hey, are you willing to fix that, or do you want to just knock the price down, or do you want to tell them that we're just not doing anything? Again, it's the same three rules. And then also with the contract, guys, you need to make sure your sellers are providing needed documentation by the timelines. In there's the survey. It's going to say you have X amount of days to get me your survey or a T47. If you're smart, you've already uploaded that. If you don't have a survey, you need to make sure they understand, who's buying for it and how much time do we have. HOA docs are another thing. It's going to say that in the contract. You have so many days to get me the HOA docs. Great. You need to make sure you're paying attention to all of those things, guys. I have a big I can't show you because of this background, but I have a big whiteboard in my office that has every single solitary date for every single house that I'm selling. And I look at that thing every day to make sure. And as soon as I get one, I put a line through it or I check it saying, yep, I already did that one. I already did that one. Because guys, as you get busier and busier, you will forget. So get a system in place, because if you miss one of these deadlines, all of a sudden you just screwed the contract for your seller. And your buyer now has a reason to walk away, and it's because you didn't do your homework and you weren't on top of things. So don't let that happen, guys. Communicate. You have to talk to everybody around you about everything. I mean, that's your job. Most days, I like to stay home for a little bit in front of my computer, in front of my whiteboard, and I look to see what I need, and I start making phone calls. Guys, you got to call title. Drive them crazy. Who cares? Okay, that's their job. They work on service. So you need to ask them, hey, look, where are we at with this contract? Do you need anything from me? What's going on? You need to communicate with the buyer's agent. What time's your inspector coming? I want to make sure the house is clean. I want to make sure the dogs are gone. You need to communicate. You can communicate with their RMLO. It's a little taboo, but you can do it. You can't get information. You can't be like, hey, what's their credit score? And, what's their social? You can't ask questions like that. But you can ask, hey, are we still tracking for this closing date? Is they still looking good? Whatever it is. And they can kind of give you those things. And communicate with your clients. Just because the contract's signed, and once you get out of the option period, there's usually 20 to 40 days of just silence. That makes them nervous. If you talk to the title company, call your client. Hey, I spoke to the title company today. Everything's good to go. Once you find out about the survey getting there, once the inspection comes back, hey, they did the inspection today, be ready in the next few days, we're going to get something back. 100% of problems are problems of communication, people. Just over communicate with your clients. That's what makes them feel good. When they don't hear from you for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 days, they start to freak out. And that goes during the listing period as well, guys. If your house is on the market for 60 days, it gets a little nerve-wracking. They want to know what's going on. And if you do additional marketing, hey, look, I know the house has been on the market 30 days. I just want to let you know, I sent out some postcards to everybody in your neighborhood. So if you get any questions, hey, I just want to let you know, I sent out some flyers today via email to all the realtors. Hey, I just want to let you know, we're having, a film crew come out and shoot, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, whatever. Just communicate with them what you're doing, and it makes them feel better. Okay. So just communicate. Don't forget, they have to get out. They have to leave. Make sure they understand the timeline. Hey guys, we're closing on August 28th. You're probably going to want to have all your stuff out about August 26th, 27th, to give us time to do final walkthroughs and stuff. A lot of times they freak out the minute they sign a contract. They're like, I have to pack all my stuff and leave now. No, you don't. Hang tight. Wait till we get through the option period before you start doing that stuff, right? Because they can back out for any reason at that point. Offer help. I'm not saying that you need to go out there and move their refrigerator. I'm just saying help them find movers. If you've worked with some moving companies before, if you know some in the area, let them know. Help them find storage units. Hey, look, here's a list of storage units in your area, just in case. Help them find a new house. Where are you going? Do you need somebody to help you buy your new house? That's a great way to make another 3%, guys. Help them move. Communicate. I can't say that stuff enough, guys. Just communicate. Closing day. On closing day, it's a lot easier for the sellers. They're not having to sign all the loan documents. So it's usually less than an hour. Schedule a time with title company. Let them know. Communicate. Let them know. And then make sure when they come that they bring all of their keys. And when I say all the keys, guys, you need to think outside the box here. I need a key to the front door, a key to the back door. I need a key to the fence around the corner. I need a key to whatever. Okay, all the keys. Now, the people are probably going to rekey the house, which is fine. Still, bring all the keys. It's professional courtesy. Garage door openers, guys. I can't tell you how many houses they leave the garage door opener in their car, and you're spending the next 4 days of your life chasing down somebody to try and find the garage door opener. Manuals. If they have their air conditioning manual, their dishwasher manual, anything that belongs to the house, security systems, that's a big one because they vary quite drastically, and sometimes they're hard to remove, and they do convey. All of those things, make sure they have it. Security codes. A lot of times security systems do convey. If they do convey, they need to know how to get into that security system, make the changes that they need to make. Cameras are the same way. If they have security cameras, a lot of times those are really weird and logs out. Just make sure you have everything. Just think about if you were going into that house, what you would need to make it your own. Make sure they bring all of that to closing. I leave that with the title company. Here you go, guys. Hand that out once everything's funded. That way I'm not having to chase around the buyer's agent. It's just easier that way. Go to the title company. And they will hold it until they know they fund it. And guess who knows when they fund? The title company, right? You don't need to be looking at everything. And then, guys, photos. Photos. Take pictures with them. Happy, sad, the white line, finish line photos. I know you've seen them. It's great for marketing. Hey, I just helped the Smiths sell their house. It's been a great day. It's been a great ride. Love you so much. And then add them to your Christmas card list. I'm going to talk about all that here in just a second. All right, so wait, can y'all still see my screen? What am I doing? Can y'all see it? Okay. I need to find this one. Okay, a couple things I wanted to show you guys, marketing that I do. I do 3-click postcards a lot. I like 3-click postcards. It's relatively cheap. It's pretty cool. Let me see if I can move this real quick. So when I go into 3-click postcards, they call it 3-click because it's that easy. So this house right here, Beach Valley, I sold that one not too long ago. Let me see if I remember how to do this. I reorder. Just listed. And what's cool about this is you can say, hey, I just listed this house and I want you to mail it to the 100 closest addresses next to that house. And usually I put something cutesy on it like, hey, do you want to pick your neighbor's house down the streets for sale? I just sold the house. Hey, I'm great. If you're looking at selling, I sold this house in 3 days. That's how damn good I am, right? Whatever you want to do. Hey, I'm having an open house. That it's just a great way, and it works off of proximity. So I use these in houses that are really in weird locations. So Flying L Drive, this one was out in Bandera. And it's on a golf course in Bandera. So how am I going to market this? Well, I'm going to let everybody in the neighborhood know, hey, if you got somebody who wants to move out here, if your kids are trying to get close to you, if you got a friend that's trying to retire on a golf course, whatever, I send it all to them. Hey, it's just listed. And then I sold it just sold because that's kind of a weird neighborhood. Hey, guys, I can sell houses out here. I did it. I sold this one. Here's how much I sold it for. This is how good I am, okay? So 3-click postcards is one of the ones I like to use. Oh, this thing is driving me crazy. Okay. How do I make all this stuff? Sorry, I'm trying to maneuver around all the Zoom stuff. It's not easy. Property Blast. Property Blast and Zip Your Flyer are very similar. What they do is they allow you to make a digital flyer of your house, and then you can email it to all of the realtors in a specific MLS. So I use this one. I remember what I'm doing here. No items in my cart. I use this one on a house that I'm selling out at the Bandit because a lot of people from Houston come in. And I said, I need you to send this house to every realtor in Houston, which seems kind of weird, but a lot of people come in from Houston. Know your market, guys. And it just sent them the particulars of the house. You can make your flyer, they send you proofs, and then they email it to everybody. I'm sure since you became a realtor, you get these emails, don't you? Like you just get a random email like, this house out in Bernie's for sale, isn't it pretty? And why am I getting that? Because you're a realtor. I wanted to show you this video, guys. This is the house that I'm selling out in New Braunfels, and I use this as my virtual tour. So this guy came out, brought a drone, brought all these fancy cameras. I want to say I paid $400 or $500 for this. But as you can see, it's a great house. It's beautiful. I did not want the typical just rolling through photos, zooming in and out virtual tour, which you can get those cheap. You take your photos and they just kind of make it. It's got, the soft music, it goes through the whole house. It's just a cool house. I wanted a cool video to show. So again, it's your marketing money. Use it fit. You use it correctly. Also over here, guys, we talked a little bit about Listing Booster. I like this because it does help boost your listings. This gets it in television for you. It gets you on the streaming TV. You can make flyers from here. You can put it on Facebook, Craigslist, all kinds of stuff. Marketing is key. This is kind of a cool little one-stop shop paid for by my friend and yours, Robin. And it's super cool service. And we'll learn more about that next week, guys. I want everybody there so they can really talk through all of that. And questions, comments, concerns. Oh, I'm not done. Not done. I lied. Guys, I'm a big checklist guy. I got checklists for everything, okay? Here's a checklist. This is my listing checklist. Different documents, guys. Do I have all of these documents? Do I need these documents? The house built before 19, whatever it is, like 73, I can't remember now. I need the lead bait paste addendum. Do we terminate the contract? Do we release the earnest money? Do I have the buyer's walkthrough? Yes, as a listing agent, I want that. HOA addendum, HOA docs, HOA profile sheets, my CMA. Why did I price the house that way? I want it copied. So I have checklists for that. I want to make sure it's all there. Also, I have this little doc, which I need to put in the thing for y'all. It's something I basically stole from a title company and just kind of rebranded it White Line. And it's something I give to them saying, hey, look, here's what to expect. Go through your house, clean out your garage. I love it. It's got a sheet in here that it says, please review this prior to each showing. Did you clean up? Did you kill the cutter? Did you let the lights in? Did you get rid of odors? Did you get rid of the pets? Did you close your windows? Simple things so they can remember what they're looking for. Tax info, guys, you're going to need that. It's just a lot of documentation on the selling side. It's the best way I can put it. Just lots and lots of documentation. Add items, client's name to the Christmas list. Everybody that I sell houses for or help buy houses get on my Christmas card list, right? We're doing all that. So, and then before I go on, before I take any questions, I just want to share with y'all my story. And I'm going to I'm going to show you the bad side. As good as I think I am, I still have problems every day, guys. So that house I just showed you the video of is a $775,000 house. I've had it for 9 months. More expensive houses take a long time to sell. And they just do. And I've done everything in my power to market this house. The bad news is it's kind of off of Lake McQueeney, and Lake Dunlap Dam fell about 2 days after I put this house up for listing, which compromised the McQueeney Lake. Because of that, I was very slow at the beginning. Nobody wanted to buy houses near the lake. So that was weird. Then we got into wintertime. Winter, sales slowed down. Then we get into summertime. They kind of start, or spring kind of picks up. Then we had COVID. We've had a lot of problems getting people to come look at a very expensive house. Here we are 9 months later, and they're starting to get antsy. And they asked me the other day, how much longer is on our contract? Meaning they don't think I'm doing a very good job. They might be looking to get another realtor involved. What is saving this deal for me right now is two things. One, I document everything. So in the listing agreement, I said, if you pull this listing from me, you will have to reimburse me for all marketing. Okay. So I've spent probably close to $2,500 marketing this house. It's a $25,000 commission, so I'm okay with that. But I've spent about 10% of it marketing the house. I'm not going to rub that in their face just yet. If they pull the listing from me, I will. Because, guys, it's $2,500, and I've done everything I can. But I've already started putting together a list of stuff for them, and it's going to help save this deal for me. One, I put it in the San Antonio MLS, the Central Texas MLS, the Houston MLS, and the Austin MLS. I've got it in 4 separate MLSs. I've sent out this many postcards. I've sent out this many virtual blasts to every single realtor in San Antonio, Central Texas, and Houston. I've had professional photos taken, not once, but twice. I had the Matterport 3D rendering done. I've had the professional video made. I've spent Facebook marketing dollars on this. I've spent, there's another one, AdWorks, guys. AdWorks will let you do your listing. I've spent money in AdWorks. I've run, 10 weeks worth of AdWorks marketing for you. And I'm showing them everything I've done for the house. We have gotten offers on this house. The offers have been around $650,000 for it. I keep telling them, guys, if we keep getting offers for $650,000, that's what the market's going to bear. He's being hard-headed. I won't take less than $725,000. Fine. But I don't want him to think that I've shortchanged him in any way with my efforts. Does that make sense, guys? So that's why documentation and communication are key. Every time I do something, I tell him and I document it. And so when we get to these weird situations, I don't want him to think that I threw it in the MLS and walked away and I don't know why it's not selling. It's not for a lack of effort. And the next thing is, guys, they're probably going out there and trying to shop people. And I guarantee you, if they take a list and say, do you do this, 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 and this? No, they don't. I don't know any realtors that are a member of 4 separate realtor associations. I don't know any realtors that would go this above and beyond. But if he cancels me and he says, never mind, I'm going to say, look, you owe me $2,500 and here's your photos, here's your video, have fun. Does that make sense, guys? I'm trying to protect myself, and I'm telling you that because you need to protect yourself. If you can't sell a house and you've spent $2,500 on your marketing, you're going to be mad at the end of the day. And you're like, being a realtor sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. I just spend money and can't sell any houses. You got to protect yourself, guys. So make sure you word that into your contract. I'll let you know how it happens. Also, remember I told you there's that 30-day protection period. I do have one last client whose husband is in Turkey, of all places. And not client, but a prospective buyer. And we're waiting for him to get back. He's supposed to be back sometime this week or next. And if they tell me on Friday that I'm fired, I still have 30 days to sell that house. And that's going to be huge because I'm going to basically have one last shot at it. Guys, it happens. It's just part of it. But I promise you it's not for a lack of effort on mine. So with all that being said, see, I just showed you that Collins, as pretty as I am, I'm not perfect either. So we have hard times. Any questions, comments, concerns going over all this stuff as we go through it? Speak up or forever hold your peace. Joey, what's up?
I just was wondering, you know your checklists? I'm a huge
yeah.
fan. Would you be willing to share those?
Please.
No, they're mine. I got $2,500 to make up, so everybody send me, say, $800. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I need to.
Your agreement.
I'm gonna put those up in the resource center. I need to get with Ryan on that. I don't want to mess it up, so I need to just get all those to him.
Okay.
And I also want to just review them one more time. So give me a day or two. We'll get them up in the resource section on the agent's page for sure. Anybody else?
No.
I had a random question.
Love random questions.
Okay. This kind of takes back to a prior meeting that we had where it was talked about doing a inspection prior to the contract, you know, prior to listing the house, the seller sits there and does an inspection. In that, I was talking about it with someone and they were like, well, in that situation, you have to disclose everything on the seller's disclosure. So what's the benefit of doing it prior to versus, you know, during the actual process? Because,
you've heard the saying, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? It's going to be the same kind of concept there. So yes, you can do that. I know a lot of people that do that. And depending on the house, you'll kind of start to feel for when you need to do that. But it's nice because if you do have an inspection on the seller's disclosure, it's going to say, do you have an inspection within the last, whatever it is, 2 years? I can't remember exactly. And click yes. And guys, put that inspection report in the additional docs. I mean, air it out there. They're going to find it anyways. Who cares, right? Now, I would not pay. By the way, listen to me carefully. I would not pay for that inspection. I will pay for marketing. You pay for your house, okay? That's always kind of my agreement with everybody. I'm not going to pay for that. However, if you want to get one, I think it's a good idea. So you get this inspection report back, put it in the docs, okay? Let's say this house that I'm buying right now, the hot water heater is a gas hot water heater and the ventilation's not connected properly, creates a carbon monoxide hazard, right? That's a big deal. I'm not going to sell that house with a carbon monoxide hazard to somebody who's got kids, okay? So I'm going to have that repaired. I'm going to tell them, you need to have this repaired. When they have it repaired, let's say it costs $200 and they get an invoice from their contractor, put the invoice in the additional docs and say, yes, we had a ventilation problem. We have fixed the ventilation problem, okay? It's all, the more you do ahead of time, guys, the less you're going to have to do on the back end. If you've got a house that's in really good shape, I would still get it inspected because they're probably proud of the house and they want to make sure it's perfect. If you have a house that's a turd and you just kind of notice it's a turd, right? Then tell them, hey, look, you're probably going to want to fix these things. No, we don't want to fix anything. And don't get mad at me if somebody comes in with a low ball offer, because that's just the way real estate works. But yeah, I'm down for it. Not opposed at all. And I'd honestly say, I know this sounds weird, but the nicer the house, the more likely I am to do that. Just to show that there's nothing wrong. I don't want to negotiate with you on this. That's basically what you're telling the other realtors. Like, if you get a good inspection report back, we want asking is basically what your little mini ultimatum is. Any other questions?
I got one, Colin.
What's up, man?
I put a house, I had a listing, and in the contract, it says 7 days of the effective date, seller shall furnish the survey and T-47. The seller doesn't have the survey. So the other part of the contract says buyer's expense no later than 3 days prior to closing.
Correct.
Should I wait until my title said they can get it, they can assist us with it? What should I do? Should I wait to make sure everything gets ready to close first, or?
No, because here's I mean, you can drag your feet a little bit. I wouldn't drag my feet too much because surveys take time. Okay. The reason why they say 3 days before, which is always kind of nerve-wracking to me, because the lending institution on the other side is going to want to see that. So if you wait till that 3 days, just that, you know what I mean? That's cutting it real close, because banks are slower than snot right now. But if you don't have that first square, that first part of the survey on the thing, it says you will provide it. You have 3 days. If they don't have it, I mean, if they have it, you should have put it in the additional doc, so they have already got it. Then if it says, hey, you will buy me a survey, just do it. I mean, you're going to need it somewhere down the road, and it's going to help out anyways. I dragged my feet a little bit. I'd probably wait till the option period was over, so they don't have a reason to back out, because your next contract behind them, they may be willing to pay for it, right? So I'd probably wait till the option period's over personally, and then I'd tell the title company, yeah, just order it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wait till the option period's over.
Because and you can ask the title company, hey, how much does your survey company charge? And you can shop it. I mean, you don't have to abide by who they choose. You just need the survey company, right? Okay. Make sure you're not surveys are a little bit more expensive depending on where you're at and how big it is. So you might want to shop it a little bit, because if your buyer's paying for it, I'd shop it and I'd find a cheap one, right? Because that's your job. You have a fiduciary responsibility. However, you can also tell title, have the survey company send the bill to title, and then all the money will come out of closing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
If they want to pay it out of pocket, they can. I don't know many people that do. They're like, just take it out at the end. So
gotcha.
I'd wait till after option, then tell whoever you need to order it. Or you can order it, right?
Yeah.
You never know. Your client might be a surveyor. You know what I mean? Who knows? Or their cousin is, right? And they'll do it for $12. You know, you never know. But you got to communicate, guys. You got to communicate. You got to let them know. And that conversation right there also, James, should come up when you present them with a net sheet.
Okay.
So when you get that offer in, you need to tell them, hey, look, they're offering you $200. They want $5,000 in concessions, and they want you to pay for the survey, which is typically about $600. You know what I mean? You need to let them know that. Like, hey, you're paying for that. Okay. You still want that? Because you can, remember, everything's negotiable. You can tell them, we'll take everything you like, except you're paying for the survey. And typically, the buyer does pay for the survey.
Yeah.
Because the buyer's lending institution needs it. The seller doesn't need it. The buyer does. So usually I tell them, you pay for it. I don't need that. But usually the seller gets stuck paying for title insurance because they have to defend their property, saying, yes, I have the right to sell it.
All right.
But that's just typical. Again, everything's negotiable, guys. I'll tell you, if I'm on the buyer side, I'm going to try and get the seller to pay for it. I am. See if I can sneak it in. Save my client $600.
Yeah, the title company gave me a net sheet.
Yeah, see, and you can get a net. Some title companies will get it for you. I'm noticing in my experience, again, guys, take it with a grain of salt, the more boutique title companies are a lot more helpful for that. If you go to the big conglomerate ones, they're slow. They've got 7,000 files they're trying to get through, and you're asking them for a favor. You know what I mean? They tend to be slow on it. But, you know, if they're slow, get a net sheet, go to the Independence Title one. That's why they put it on there. Independence Title is a big company. That's why they put it on their app. You do it. We don't have time. But it's nice if you need to get a quick answer.
It works really well. I've used it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, anything else? Allison, Kevin?
I was going to ask, under resources, where do I find like the Like do you have like the representation agreement or anything under resources?
Okay, good question. All of the documents that come from Trek, Sabor, TAR, wherever, I get those from zip forms. When you signed up for your MLS, when you became a board member, they should be able to give you access to that. Those are not going to be in our resources because those are promulgated forms. You need to go to the Trek website to get those.
Okay.
Or the TAR website or the Sabor website, depending on which one you use. Yeah, so they're not going to be under our resource tab. Just all these little ticky-tack things. Oh, y'all can't see my screen. But all the checklist, all the stuff that has white line that's kind of exclusive to us, that'll be in the resource tab here shortly. I'll hustle on that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Anybody else? When y'all are quiet, I assume either y'all are extremely intimidated by me or that I've just done such a great job that there's no questions whatsoever. I have covered everything in the topic.
Of course, I have another question. You mentioned the text info. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. The text info that you include on the sign, where do you get that from? Because I'm in the process of getting my signs right now. And I've seen it on other ones. I like it. I like the fact that people can drive by and text and get the info.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you real quick where I get mine. Okay. There's guys, like anything else, there's 100 services. Can y'all see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay. Where I go is on Listing Booster, and
this is what
so
we're looking for next week, right?
Yes, this one will be live and in person. But as you can see here, guys, I have the text code. So when I print these signs, I mean, they're not ungodly expensive. I don't know, they're 40, 50 bucks or something like that, or maybe 40 bucks to get one of them. But I don't want to have to buy one every time I get a house. So I get one code for as many as I'm listing. So I think I have like 4 or 5 of them because I've never listed more than 4 or 5 houses at a time. So I've got 5 of those signs, and I just change the code depending on what house I'm using at that time. Does that make sense? And you can do it all through here. And when you go to, not there. No, not there. Now I can't remember. But through here, there's a way to buy the sign.
And you just attach it to your sign?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's called the Rider. So you know the metal stakes, the one you push your foot in the ground, you tend to have a very large square. And it's like White Line Realty, Joey, here's my phone number, for sale, right? All that goes on the sign. It's usually very generic. It's just contact information, right? And then they have riders. They call them riders, and those are the little rectangles that slide in and out. You can get a double rider where there's one on either side of the big square. You can get a single rider where there's only one on top, one on bottom, whatever. You just got to talk to the sign guy. Say, hey, I want a frame that has room for 2 riders. And so sometimes y'all have all seen it. Sometimes they slide in the word pool, right? Or whatever it is, beautiful inside, or honey, stop the car, or whatever those things are, right? Those are riders. That's what they call them. And so all you're doing here is you're buying a rider. And it's a very specific rider. How do I do this? Is it in here? It's a very specific rider that has this exact text code. And I don't remember where I did that.
And so you buy a rider for each text code?
Correct. But I've only got 5 riders. So obviously when I buy a printed sign, I can't change the code. So what I do is I go in here and I change the code. So once I sell a house, I delete the code off that house and I put it on my new listing.
Okay.
And does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry.
And actually, I have to be honest, I don't even do it. I have Ariel do it, who y'all will meet next week. I just email Ariel. Ariel, text code I'm looking at my actual writer, and I text her an email, and I say, hey, or send her an email. Hey, make this text code attached to this house. And I don't know if she does it. She's smarter than I am, apparently.
Because you're spoiled.
I kind of am.
You
I'm not
are.
gonna lie. But see, you can change your text code to be very specific. You can pick your text code. Where in my world? It's somewhere in here. I don't remember. Sorry. Wait. Oh, here it is. Y'all see where I'm at? Dashboard, order sign writers. So it's going to take me to a website where I can order the rider. So mine look like this. Mine are design number 1. Text this home first, and then it puts the specific code in here.
How much are these again, did you say?
I don't know. They're not much.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, and they're actually really good quality too. Mine have taken quite a beating and still look good. Let's add a code. Let's see how much these things cost. Yeah, $8.
That's it?
Yeah, but there's an additional shipping charge and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they come out to like $20 or something like that. All right, oh, and do you want it double printed? So if you want them on both sides of your sign, which I would highly recommend, I think it's $8 a side. I don't know. They're gonna, let's say we want. Well, and remember, this is for that one code. So I only want one of them, right? I got 2 for a couple because sometimes I put them in front and back of the house, like a golf course house. That will have the same text code. So let's say I'm doing that and I order 2 of them. I don't know. Yeah, they're really, it's mad at me. My card's empty, whatever. But it's not, guys, it's not to die for. The only rub is you want to make sure you have the correct frame that will hold that rider.
And that's something.
And
that-
riders are pretty standard dimensions. And Mitch from Alpha Graphics is where we get our big square signs. So call Mitch. I've got his number in a bunch of different places. Or text me, I'll get it to you. And it says, I say, hey, I need a sign. I need a white line column for sale sign, and I need a double rider. Yeah, see right here, guys. 2 of these at $17. I mean, and the more stuff you do you want holes in it? If you want brass grommets, they just kind of nickel and dime you to death, but whatever. It's really not bad. So I had to get nylon bolts and wing nuts for one of them because I had to stick it on top because it's the big fancy sign. Rounded corners, 50 cents. Whatever. It just kind of depends on what you want, guys. But they're not expensive, not by any means. All right. Anything else? Everybody's happy and well educated. All right. Okay. Before we go, Kevin, I know it's a drive. James, I know it's a drive. Joey, not so much. Guys, I want you to come to this meeting next week, okay? You can see where it's at. It's kind of where the rim is, 10 and 1604 on the northwest side of San Antonio. It's right across the street from the Ferrari dealership. We can all go shopping for cars when we're done. Or at least test drive them.
Test drive.
That'll be a fun afternoon, right? Come on, White Line field trip. But it's up there on the side of town. Guys, it's going to be some great information. You're going to meet I don't know if I've told you this. The reason why I like Robin so much is because she teaches other RMLOs. She's got a bajillion awards, like 700 letters after her name about all the different designations she has. She knows her stuff. And now's the time, if you're representing buyers that need to get financing, and no question, trust me, she does not take offense to stupid questions because I ask her a ton of them. She's going to be there, and all this listing booster stuff, guys, is going to be explained as well. We're going to get everybody set up. It's free. It's not free. Robin pays for it, but it's free to you. So it's a great way to get free marketing materials, guys. And trust me, you're going to want as much marketing materials, which was today's lesson. That's why we're leading into that one next. So, oh yeah, text message leaves. That's cool. These are all the people that have ever texted me about these houses. I can find them, call them, see what's going on. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. Other than that, go enjoy your lunch. Go sell something. Go slang some real estate. All right, bye.
Thank you.